Oh my goodness, I have to come out of retirement. Come out of recording retirement. Oh, this is rough. Such a long weekend, such a bad recorded Hawks team, but you know what? I actually enjoy watching them more so than I did last year. But I couldn't come out of retirement alone. I brought back the soccer expert himself who managed to take some time out of his busy schedule. And yeah, my brother, Matt Lane. Matt, what's happening?
I only took this because you're my brother and I think we have good chemistry.
Good chemistry. Yes, there is that. Oh my goodness, Matt, what is going on? What's been happening since the last time we talked to you?
Not a whole lot, but I wanted you to keep doing this and so that's the main focus today, but everything's good.
Well, that's good to hear, everyone. So as you know, Matt got me to start recording again, and you know what, Matt? I'm going to try to do it once a week. Once a week, I'm going to try.
All right.
It's very hard. It's very hard, and I know lots of people out there missed me. Okay, probably zero.
Hey, you get good SoundCloud numbers. So
That's true. I
if you
guess
got like
so.
4 views, I would just be like, Josh, just give it up. But uh,
Four?
yeah, if you had four, I'd be like, Josh, just give up. But it looks nice. Like you get a lot of plays. So
Okay,
it's a
cool.
good
All
sign.
right. All right. And I know a couple people out there. Sam is always hitting me up. Glenn has always wanted to come back and record, and Glenn is a fantastic guest. I know Brad would be grateful that I'm out here giving him some content for the Peachtree site. So,
Oh
oh
goodness.
man, oh man. So Matt, um, I wanted to talk to you because you're an Atlanta native. You aren't just an Atlanta native. You are like a dirty, dirty inside the city, down the street from everything native. Isn't that
Yep.
correct? You live where? Right next to the Georgia.
I live way too close to the Georgia Dome.
Well, what used to be the
Or
Georgia
used to
Dome.
be the Georgia Dome.
I was going to ask you, did you catch that video of Marta parking right in front of the demolition?
And I was like, it just reminds me of every experience I've had with MARTA while driving. I try to make a right turn, there's a MARTA bus. I try to make a light, there's a MARTA bus. So the fact that a MARTA bus blocks something in Atlanta does not surprise me.
You're sitting on the side of a street trying to walk across the street. There's a MARTA bus
There's a MARTA bus,
about to run you over because
right?
they skip on the sidewalks. My true Atlantans know that.
They skip on the sidewalks and they try to turn and almost hit every car, but
I love it. I love it, man. But
they
let me
don't
tell
MARTA.
you, I just want to let everybody know out there that where they made it cool to make fun of Marta by putting the Marta sign on like their Facebook or Twitter, Avi or whatever. I just want to know. I've been hating on Marta way before it was cool. Just no, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, I have. Man, Marta is. I don't know. Has Marta gotten better? You know what?
Um,
You know what? There are some people that will take offense to me saying all this, talking bad about Marta. Although my experiences are getting on the 5 Point station, going to the airport, sometimes having to go up to Buckhead because I was having issues in my car. But you know what? We'll leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I judge how I'm doing in life based on if I'm on MARTA or not. So right now we're still good.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Anyway, Matt, I wanted to ask you because you live so close to the dome. How was the experience of the demolition, the explosions?
So, I was at ground zero basically, and at about 7:30 a.m., I just hear like a loud just boom. It sounded like some thunder, and that was the dome exploding. And what's funny was people tried to like get close to like film, but then like the dust started coming in, and then
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh man, I gotta go." So I was looking safely from my window.
Man, I remember I was talking to you. You were telling me how you had to wash your car because the dust was so bad.
Right. They owe me a car wash, but I already washed it, but they
Yeah,
still owe me a car
too
wash.
bad Cactus Car Wash still ain't there on
Right. They,
what street was that?
they
Ponce?
were they were thrilled with
Ponce?
that. Yeah, Ponce.
That's right, everybody.
Actually, I think it's called Mr. Cleaner or something like that. They actually got bought out by another, by
Oh,
like,
so Cactus Car Wash ain't there no more?
yeah, RIP
Oh
Cactus Car
man.
Wash.
All right, man. So for my true Atlanta natives who know Ponce de Leon, I call it Ponce. Mary Mac's Tea House is off of there. But you could go to Cactus Car Wash, then hit up the liquor store, hit up
Right.
Murder Kroger,
Murder Kroger's in
hit
there
up.
either.
They
That's
got rid of
gone
Murder
too.
Kroger?
Yeah,
How could they get rid of that? Was a significant land piece in Atlanta culture.
that's what I
Murder Kroger.
said. I was like,
I
do you
used
realize that this, so how many people got murdered here? And now nobody's going to understand that. Like,
no
no
one's
one's
gonna
going to understand that
understand
anymore.
why this is called Murder Kroger.
Right.
And that used to be the closest grocery store to my place. So I used to go
Me
to
too.
Murder. Yeah, I used to go to Murder Kroger all the time.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds bad. And it's across the street from the only Chipotle in Atlanta.
Only two people have actually gotten murdered there, I think. But gosh, when like the second person got murdered, everyone was so hyped. And it was like last year. I mean, it's terrible, but like everybody was so hyped. They're like, oh my God, Murder Kroger's back.
Murder Kroger is back. It's back. All
Oh
right, man.
man. Terrible.
Man, I love these Atlanta references. So, we do it for you, do it for the people. But since this is an Atlanta show, let me go ahead and jump on into the main topic that we're here to talk about. Um, the Atlanta Hawks. And sorry, I just got a notification across my phone. We're recorded this on a Sunday afternoon. Doug Martin is going to be out for the rest of the game with a concussion. Doug Martin's on my fantasy team. So I have the worst fantasy luck. Okay, real quick, I'm going to rant about fantasy football real quick. Fantasy football is some bull. It's a crapshoot. I am literally just owning dudes with trades and drafts in my league, but yet I'm like in almost last place because my team just does not come through. I have the best players on the teams, but like the number 2 people on other teams will randomly go off. For instance, this week, no, last week, I had to be the one to play Keenan Allen, who hasn't done crap all year. But magically, when I play him, he gets like 2 touchdowns and like 300 yards. It's amazing how bad my luck is. Devontae Freeman hasn't done jack since I traded for him like 6 weeks ago, and he's out for a second week in a row. Dak Prescott has done nothing these last 2 weeks, and I'm the Aaron Rodgers owner. This is terrible. I hate fantasy football, Matt.
Yeah. You were doomed when Aaron Rodgers got injured. That
Yeah.
was that was a sign that you were gonna have a rough year for sure.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I hate fantasy football. Jordan Howard, easily the best player on the Bears, but never gets the ball because the Bears stink. At least offensively stink. Mitch Trubisky, I hate you. You have ruined. Put Glennon back in. At least Howard got touchdowns then.
So like, what would you say is the luck percentage of fantasy football? Would you say it's like 50% luck and just like 50% like skill?
It's like 70% luck and 30% like.
I find that people at the bottom of tables say it's like 75%, and then like people that are first are like it's 100% skill.
No. When you're at first, because the guy's leading in my league, he has Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, and it's just like you cannot guess that these people are good. No expert out there was saying Todd Gurley would be good this year after how terrible he was last year. No one was saying that Christian McCaffrey would be catching like 8 passes a game. It's like luck. It's amazing. No one out there before the season said the Jaguars defense was going to be like super good. It's amazing how lucky it is.
Yeah.
Sorry. My fantasy football rant is done. I might quit after this year. I might be done with fantasy football. I just hate it.
Hey, don't quit. Don't quit.
It has just made my life miserable. Let me tell you about a time like 5 years ago. I was in a championship game. I was scheduled to win, but then my opponent picked up Tim Tebow for some garbage. He picked up Tim Tebow.
If you lost the championship because of Tim Tebow, like I feel your pain.
No, you don't, because I was you that had Tim Tebow. You beat me in the championship game. Out of 20 people, I fought hard.
You're bringing back some. I was on the Tebow hype. I almost thought it was a joke, but he just kept getting points.
Tebow
I was
put
like, is he even good? Like, how is he
the greatest
outscoring everybody?
garbage time player ever. Tebow put up like 30 points on me, and
Oh,
I'm like,
Tebow
I
was a
can't
legend in
believe this.
garbage time. Like
This is
through
this
the
is
third quarter, this man had like 6 points, and then the fourth quarter, he
like
was like Tom Brady. Like
him and Blake Bortles last year was clutch for some garbage time points. Like the Jaguars would get down like 40 points last year, and Blake Bortles' eyes will just light up, and he'll get like 3 touchdowns. Like
oh
Blake,
man.
Blake Bortles was captain garbage next to Matt Stafford. But anyway, sorry, I'm ranting about my fantasy
So
team.
who do you think's the greatest? Who do you think's the greatest garbage time player of all time? Would you say that's Tebow? Is he like the legend of that?
Well, Tebow won you a championship. He won you a championship off of his garbage time.
Amen. Hey, points are points. That's the way I look at it.
I
Points are
hate
points.
fantasy football.
I think you gotta
I'm
like
quitting.
realize with fantasy, it's not always like reality. At the end of the day, like you can't calculate everything in sports, like you can in fantasy.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Like
Okay, like today. Okay, for instance,
Tebow's
today.
not even in the NFL. Like he's not even in the NFL.
Mohamed Sanu vultured my Matt Ryan touchdown pass. So this is I hate it. I hate fantasy. Anyway,
Sanu.
I'm here ranting about fantasy. All right, let's get back to basketball. Talking about the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks, what's the record as of today? The Hawks are 4-16. They've won 4 games. Second worst record in the league. The Chicago Bulls are 3-14. We are 4-16. The Chicago Bulls currently have the 25% chance to win the number 1 pick in the draft lottery. We are currently at 19.9. So about kind of where I thought we would be.
The only part that worries me about that is like it is the Bulls. I just wish I wish number 15 was like the Magic or something. Then I'd be like, dang, we can really get like the first pick. But Bulls is like a historic franchise, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, I honestly can't even remember the last time. Have the Hawks ever got a number 1 pick?
I don't think so.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any time.
I don't think so. And I also think championships are directly like correlated to like picks. I mean, not always, but like, I mean, if you have a number 1 pick, like,
well,
2-3 years.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. The Hawks roster, in my opinion, the last couple of years just weren't that talented in the sense of youth and just like pure talent from the draft. Because a lot of our guys we had to pick up late in the draft. The only guy that was like an early draft pick was Al Horford, and he departed for Boston a year ago. And it's just like we are winning off of team play and coaching, and just like when we went to go play a team like Washington, you could tell, oh, their players actually have talent. John Wall, Bradley Beal, they actually have talent.
Right.
We don't have talent, and we probably have like Torrin Prince, solid player, but he's a 4-year player in college. It's not like he's a young, talented person. John Collins is probably the most talented guy that we've had on the roster, probably with youth involved, since Horford. And I don't know, maybe it's a recency bias, but I think as a 19-year-old coming to the league, John Collins at this point in time might be better than where Horford was his rookie year. I don't know, but what do you think about Matt, about the Hawks, quote unquote, tanking?
Man, that's a tough question. What do I think about the Hawks tanking? I think if you have a plan, I think a plan is worth millions, and I think a plan is worth like a championship. So if their plan is to acquire, like you said, more talent, we do a lot of other things well, which I think is a good thing about Atlanta. Like, I feel like we have good coaching. I kind of like how they're playing this year. Like, I feel like they're playing hard. Like, and like you said, when we versed the Wizards, you could kind of see like just the lack of talent. but I haven't seen a Hawks game. Well, at least I haven't seen a Hawks game. I might have missed one, but like I haven't seen a Hawks game where I just felt like they weren't like bringing it. I really felt like they almost played as well as they could in almost every game. So I think that's a good thing, and I think when the talent comes, it'll make it like it'll grow the team exponentially. Some teams get talent and they're still terrible, like how Oklahoma's doing this year. I feel like
Yeah.
they have talent, but they're playing terrible. I'd rather have the opposite.
Well, Oklahoma City did pick up that win against the Warriors, which is just random. But yeah, you're right. They are overachieving.
Yeah,
Last year's team to me was just like not fun because it was old players who stunk. Like the team was not good last year, and it was just a bunch of veteran players. Like I'd rather watch a bad team with young players than a bad team with vet players. But
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I cut you off. Keep going, Matt.
No, yeah, you're right. I think a bad team with old players is just kind of like, you're just going nowhere basically. But at least with young players, there's the potential. And also, I think you're more able to attract maybe even like a superstar player. Would be more interested in joining like a young team that is developing versus like just an older team that's just not playing well. So I think it's weird because I mean the Hawks are playing terrible, or records speaking this year, they're not great, but it's like I actually feel like maybe for the first time in a while, there's actually potential, like legitimate potential
Yeah.
within the team.
Yeah. And the Hawks, it's weird to talk about the team because I think they're overachieving. Like you look at this roster, we are starting Luke Babbitt. We've had to start Luke Babbitt for half the season. I could not recognize him. We're playing Josh Maggette. It's amazing. Like you look at the rotation, Isaiah Taylor, a guy I've never heard of in my life, but we're playing him.
Maybe it's time for Atlanta to get a championship. And people forget Golden State was a terrible franchise for a long time.
Oh yeah,
So they're kind of like it makes me look at it like, okay, maybe it is possible. Atlanta is kind of a growing city too, so
yeah,
maybe not as big as it was 10 years ago, but now it's like Atlanta is like one of the best growing cities in America. So, and I think that'll reflect upon the sports teams, which is true. I think like big market teams typically play better. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Anyway, I know it has been argued that the Hawks should not tank. Matt, what's an argument that you can think of like why the Hawks should not tank? Like why they should
Here's the
keep trying to
thing.
win?
I think the problem is like a lot of GMs and a lot of these guys look at, the bulk things, which are like ticket sales and stuff like that. They're like, all right, if we tank, we're not going to sell tickets. We're not going to sell jerseys. And we're not going to be able to compete financially. But like, at the same time, like I feel like you have to have a plan. And I feel like a lot of GMs, a lot of teams are just afraid to tank because like, like a lot of teams are afraid to tank because like they don't want to not make money. I think that's what it really comes down to, honestly.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, like I said, as long as you have a plan, I feel like you're going somewhere. And I think the Hawks this year, despite like we said, having a terrible record, I think their play style is actually even attracting more fans, even attracting more respect. So it's kind of like it's looking good in my opinion. And tanking isn't like I feel like teams don't necessarily tank. Some teams just don't play well. It's like is it tanking or teams just not playing? Um, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, geez, if you look at this roster is really bad. Like I'm amazed they have this many wins. And I don't know. It's amazing.
right,
So
it could be worse. It could be worse.
if you
Absolutely.
guys ever want to follow what I follow for tanking, go to tankathon.com, volunteering that, sim this lottery, sim it, Hawks are okay. Yeah, that's where you see the chances. That's where you see the record. Very fun website to follow. I started following it a couple years ago.
And like I said, we have the good coaching. We have a good like I said, like I think the mentality is important. Like we have a good like positive, like hardworking mentality on the team for once. I feel like so if we do get a couple good picks, maybe like one, maybe even like a year, not even next year, but the year after that. Say we just get two good picks. Like I said, that's all it takes. When Golden State drafted Steph and Clay Thompson,
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, now they can start competing. Then they get Draymond, and then they're able to attract players like KD. And then it's like, okay, just like that, you have like a all-star franchise. But I think the whole time they were doing a lot of things well. Like they're actually known for having a very good like atmosphere,
Yeah.
uh, despite having not having the best record at times. Like they still had like a very good fan base.
Well,
So
I
an
feel
atmosphere.
Atlanta's stadium. They put it out there that they want to have the best in arena experience, and you see with them making those changes. Because Matt, you remember going to those games like back when we were in college, and how bad that stadium looked. Get the old like high school looking scoreboard where they kept the box score where they were missing the lights, and remember when they changed everything. So I feel they're in the right direction. Did you know they are so they got that courtside bar, but did you know about that whole Killer Mike barber shop that they got going on?
That sounds like something in Atlanta.
Yeah, it sounds like the most Atlanta thing ever.
Yeah, that sounds like some
But
Atlanta stuff.
well, yeah, but for the anti-tanking argument, I know people just want to see the team win. They think that tanking has never done anybody any good, and I feel the example you throw out there are the Houston Rockets, where they technically didn't really tank to get their roster. They just traded a lot and held on to assets.
Hmm.
But I mean, besides that, like that's one in a million. And you normally get the best players in the draft, best young talent, but you have to build it from there to get your team better. Like, I mean, the only case where I can see that not working out is if like we were being run by the Sacramento Kings or the New Orleans Hornets, where you got like the best big men in the league. You drafted Boogie or you drafted Anthony Davis, but you can't build on it. So, I mean, there's always that, but I feel this franchise is run way better than that.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say
All
so.
right. All right. You want to get into the games, these past few games, Matt?
Sure.
All right. So, first game I want to bring up the Hawks played the Los Angeles Clippers. They ended up losing in the end to the 6-11 Clippers. Ultimate tankathon, like so many tanks on the court right now. Like I'm always referencing that GIF or the music video, make him saying, da da because in the video there's a giant golden tank on the court for no record, no, is it No Limit Records? I just screwed myself up. Anyway,
Who
it's
knows?
kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but this was the first start of the year for John Collins, the rookie from Wake Forest, power forward. We have been playing him a lot at center, where I feel in the future that's where he will make the most of his position. But we ended up starting him with Dwayne Dedman, which, was interesting because they ended up have Dedman guarding Blake Griffin and having Collins guarding DeAndre Jordan, which was interesting. Good cross switch. And, see, it was working. So it's funny. Little known fact that a lot of people don't know is John Collins leads the NBA in fouls per game. He currently leads the league with 3.7 fouls per game and a total of 74 fouls, personal fouls. DeMarcus Cousins is number 2 with 72. And the difference is obviously DeMarcus Cousins plays like 35 minutes a game. John Collins barely plays a little bit less than 23 minutes. Um, should that be cause for concern of how many times John Collins fouls people, Matt?
I guess you could look at that two ways. Like, DeMarcus Cousins, I feel like is a very effective player. So it's like, you know, are they getting these fouls because they're not playing smart, or is it like they're just not as aggressive, or are they just being very aggressive? Um, I think John Con, I mean, he's a rookie, so I wouldn't look at that as like a cause for concern. I feel like that's an easy part of your game to brush up. Is he being a little reckless? Maybe, but this is also like a losing team, so it's like maybe he's feeling a little bit desperate. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'm almost like, if you lead the league in anything, it's almost a good thing. I mean, other than like turnovers, but like, or like lowest field goal percentage, stuff like that. But like, I don't think that's a real cause for concern, especially as a rookie. Especially as a rookie.
Yeah. It's yeah, well, it's like the thing is he started actually starting games when he actually is put out there with the starters. His well, let me take a look. How did his foul rate go? Yeah, he didn't really get that many. In his first game starting, he got 4 fouls. Um, and then the next couple games, 3. So I'm thinking it was just because, he realized there were times he needed to foul, like playing more aggressively because he knew he wasn't getting as many minutes,
Right. Definitely.
which could be a thing. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so that was fun to watch. They lost, but woo, had me worried there. As the pro tanker, had me worried. Had me worried they were going to win that game.
I mean, the Clippers are a dead franchise. They actually remind me of the Hawks about like a couple years ago when they're just on the decline and everyone's just kind of like shrugging, like,
Yeah.
well, let's just salvage wins. That's what the Clippers are doing right now.
Oh man. So let me go to the next game that I wanted to bring up. The Hawks played the New York Knicks. Now, as everyone knows, the New York Knicks signed Tim Hardaway Jr. to that $70 million contract. You might like Tim Hardaway Jr. I still think that's a ridiculous contract. Like that is so bad. Like so bad. And Hardaway had a very Hardaway like game. Uh 3 for 9 from 3, 8 for 16 overall. He had a very Hardaway-ish game, jacking up dumb shots, airballing a couple three-pointers, um, sporadic scoring, perfect from the line, but it was funny. Now, Matt, the funniest thing to me was that Tim Hardaway Jr. got a tribute video. Matt, how long do you think Tim Hardaway Jr. played for the Hawks?
He was a forgettable player, honestly.
He had one good season with the Hawks, and the year that he was traded to Atlanta, he rode the bench the whole season. So,
Right. And if you're running the bench in Atlanta, I feel like you're not that great of a player.
yeah, he couldn't beat out Bazemore, I remember, for shooting guard minutes. And
Right.
he couldn't yeah, and the Hawks who go small have Delaney play the 2. Couldn't beat him out there. It was amazing.
I
But
feel
Tim
like I
Hardaway,
feel like you dislike Hardaway.
well, to Hardaway's credit, um, contract year Hardaway.
He was just smart by maybe even negotiating with the Knicks, knowing that cap space opened up from old boy Carmelo leaving and then them trading other players. I feel
Well,
like he capitalized on that, and the Knicks were just, I feel like, desperate to sign a good player, like a decent player.
if my memory serves me correct, Carmelo wasn't traded until after Hardaway was signed. However,
Okay.
at the same time, Hardaway, in their defense, he is a young player, though it was still really stupid.
It's hard to talk about Hardaway without thinking about the original Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you think that factors into his contract?
No,
You don't think so?
no, because Hardaway played for the Knicks before, and they were so eager to get rid of him to trade him to Atlanta that I remember Atlanta made that trade, which now seems dumb, to give them, I believe it was Jerry and Grant, if memory serves me correct, who doesn't even play for the Knicks now. But they were so eager to get rid of Hardaway because they complained about his defense, how he would jack up shots, and he didn't even play for Atlanta for the first year he was here, hardly. And it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was so bad. And Knicks fans hated him when he was gone. And now they see him coming back. And it's just like, really? But that's over and done with. That's what happened during the summer. But the main thing I wanted to bring up is Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn. I I don't even know how that nickname started, but the unicorn, he's insanely good. And I think the most impressive thing was Dwayne Dedman's defense on him. But Kristaps insanely good now that the team is basically it's his team now.
Right. Funny for a player that like was being booed when they drafted him.
Hey, you're talking about Knicks fans.
Yeah.
Great New York. No, I'm kidding. Not really. But yeah. Um it's just amazing right now.
Yeah.
Watching that.
Right. I can't say much about the Knicks. I mean, Knicks are one of the most strangely run franchises I've seen in the last 10 years. Maybe the most strangely operated franchise.
Yeah.
Huge market, huge fan base. You got what's the face? Stan what's that guy? Can't even think of his name. You know what I'm talking about. He's always on the sidelines.
Oh, yeah, Stanley. No, not Stanley.
I was thinking Stan Lee. Yeah, I was like, nah, not Stan
I'm
Lee.
saying Stanley.
He's making
They
comics.
got on them. Geez, director.
What's
I know who you're talking about. And I'm pretty sure I will get my card revoked because I don't know him.
Yeah, me too.
Even though I don't really like his movies.
Yeah. What is his name? All right, tune in next time. We'll have his name.
Tune in next time. We'll get the name. I'm sure it'll come to me.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you have all this hoopla going on, and then all of a sudden you get, I guess he's called the unicorn. You know, you get Porzingis, who's like this Latvian player. Nobody really knows much about him. Everybody's booing him, and then he just balls out, and then all the same people are like, "Oh, okay." It's like, all right, Knicks fans. Terrible. At least Atlanta doesn't boo draft picks. I'll say that about Atlanta.
Really?
Like, how you gonna
you obviously weren't. I was gonna say you obviously weren't in the living room with your dad with my dad when no, I'm kidding. With her dad when they drafted Marvin Williams and
who did we pick over Chris Paul? I knew that. I remember thinking like that was such a mistake.
No, who was the other guy? Sheldon Williams.
And you know what's funny is like you ever just stop and think like, man, the draft is like really important when you think about it. Like the draft is very important. I think like, and I watch a lot of soccer, and there's not really like a draft type of thing with that. And I feel like the difference between like a lot of soccer, like European soccer and NBA and like NFL is like players don't really move as much. Like a lot more players play for the same team like pretty much their entire career. So the draft I feel like is very important actually. And yeah, it's like I don't know. You ever just think like, man, the draft is important? I mean, look at the Golden State. Like, I mean, they wouldn't even be in the conversation. Like, what would we be talking about in the NBA if like they didn't draft Steph and Klay Thompson and Draymond? You know, like the draft is important.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I think people underestimate just the power of the draft. And it's like, I feel like you just got to get the right pick. You got to get the right pick. And like I said, us not picking Chris Paul was just like, it just set the tone for like the next like 5-6 years. It really did. Like it's unbelievable. So, I mean, even now, like if we would have had him, we could have traded him for like another pick. You know, it's just like you just got to pick the right player. Like you got to scout and you got to pick the right player. So I think the Hawks, that might be a forecast to this year. You know, are the Hawks going to make the right pick? Because it's pretty much guaranteed that we're probably going to get a decent pick. You know, so whew, come on, Hawks, no pressure, but don't mess this one up.
Yeah,
Don't mess this one
yeah.
up.
Although I feel if they get a top 3 pick, they can't screw that up with the how top heavy this is. But anyway, back to the Knicks game. Something I wanted to point out was the Tim Hardaway tribute video, which kind of made me laugh because he only really had one good year here and was here for I think 2 years, which makes me wonder they have to have a Tabo Cephalosha video, and it makes me really think they're about to have a Dwight Howard video, aren't they? Ugh.
Good old Dwight.
Anyway, moving on. The Hawks played the Toronto Raptors, if you can call that a basketball game, with a final score. I don't even want to look it up because it was so bad. But with the final score of, where is it, 78 to 112.
Yeah.
It was a beatdown basically from the second quarter on, if I can remember correctly. Especially at halftime, the game wasn't even close. It felt like they were ahead by 30 at one point. Basically, everyone on their team had a very good game. Atlanta did not have a good game. Um, I don't even think I remember John Collins scoring at all.
It's an away game. It was an away game. Um, and I mean, it's Toronto. Toronto are a decent squad.
Yeah. And fun fact, if you look at the basketball reference of this game and you look at the box score, Torin Prince, they put in Torin Waller Prince as his name entry on there. Random fun fact. But yeah, this is a game where the bench got cleared. Um, yeah, it was ugly, and it secured us as kind of not. I don't know if you call it a letdown after how they played against after they played against the Knicks, but a team like this is going to be up and down through the year, and
I feel like a lot of sports is very mental. So, like, I hope that beating doesn't like hurt them so much because it's a young team. That's one of the things with young teams, like a lot of these guys come into the league and they're used to winning. So when they just get beat like that, it's like, how the Hawks gonna bounce back?
yeah, yeah, it's frustrating, but well, no, not really, because this year I don't even really care about watching the Hawks.
Right. I think everybody's kind of like throwing in the towel. I mean, I think at
Yeah,
this point, we're not even really gunning for a playoff spot. I mean, that's pretty much a stretch. So, like I said, I think it's a tough mental test to lose like that to a team like Toronto, but we'll see. We'll see how they bounce back. I think that's the important part. Like, I'm actually kind of like looking forward to the next game and see how they react to that loss. Because I mean, some games just get out of hand, especially when like a team is really good, like
yeah,
Toronto. I feel like Toronto are just kind of like almost like a complete team. Like, teams can beat them, but they're always going to be like a decent squad,
yeah,
pretty much every night. So, some games get out of hand. So let's just see how they bounce back.
yeah. Well, that's it for the games this week. Um, anything else you wanted to bring up or talk about? Uh, random things in the soccer world. Um, your hate for all things fantasy football, or at least my hate.
Man, I had to take the fantasy year off this year, probably for the same reason you're going to take it off next year. I think my problem was I started doing DraftKings, and
Oh,
then
really?
yeah, I think that was my biggest problem. And yeah, DraftKings is frustrating, but mm, uh, I don't know. What do you how do you think about what do you think about the Falcons? How do you think they're doing?
I think the Falcons are the Falcons. They're either good or they're bad. And I don't know. It's hilarious to me that everyone's complaining about the offensive coordinator when they just like kept throwing him under the bus last season. and then this year apparently they hate Sarkisian even more.
You know,
So it's hilarious to me.
right. Well, one person they hated because he was good and then left, I guess. And then
Yeah, he only
the
got you
other,
to the Super Bowl. Like they
right.
hated him all year. It was pretty funny.
They should have tried
But
to keep him. I feel like that, it's always like little moves like that that just kind of like keep you, you know, it's like little moves like that give you the potential to win a championship versus like not win a championship. And I feel like that little move might seem insignificant because I feel like a lot of people look at the NFL and think it's all about the players. That little move might have taken the Falcons out of the championship race. But we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see.
Anywho, anyway, anyway, this has been a fun talk. I'll have to get back and start doing these once a week recordings. This
Yes,
is good
sir.
stuff. This is good stuff. Matt, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Any random stories of life in Atlanta you want to share before I get off?
Oh man. Well, okay. I think my one Atlanta story was like the MLS. I'm a big soccer fan, but I'm not a big MLS fan.
Yeah,
So when their games were reaching like 70,000, 80,000, and then traffic was just like totally ridiculous,
yeah.
I was like, it's an MLS game. Like, why there's so many people?
Hey, man.
I was like, it's an MLS game. I was like, what are the odds that like Atlanta's soccer team, you know what I'm saying? I'm not salty, but like when they lost in the playoffs, I was kind of happy because I was like, I'm really just tired of dealing with this traffic. Like, I'm
Hey,
really tired of dealing with this traffic.
you sound like me having to deal with the Braves. I was annoyed of them blocking off streets because for Braves games.
Right.
I was
It's
like,
like, look,
oh my goodness.
I'm
When I
like,
look,
I live here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man.
it's not like I'm just trying to like go to the game. Like, I actually I'm trying to go to work, go home, stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So,
felt like, man, when the Braves played and I was living downtown, they would block off the streets and the highway so I couldn't like get to work. So I'd have to take like the most alternate out of the way route to
right.
get out of my apartment complex. And I was like, I hate, dang it, Braves. I hope you stink so you don't make the playoffs so this can stop happening.
Right.
That was back when they were in Turner Field. So, um,
Yep.
hey man, but hey, you got the Atlanta United, Matt. Your favorite team because I know you've played or practiced with guys on that team. So that's kind of funny.
Man, it's sometimes you just realize how close you are. It's almost like if you ever seen like those pictures where it's like, keep going, because you never really realize how close you are with something. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's that moment, and that's like that drives me pretty much. But
Hey
like
man,
it's crazy because I'll be like, sometimes I'll be on ESPN or I'll hear something up and I'll hear a player's name. I was like, I think I used to play that guy. It's like, dang. I'm like, he wasn't even that good. I'm like, dang, I should have kept going. It's crazy, Part of me is like, man, if Atlanta had a team when I was playing, that would have been one thing. Oh,
nah,
I
man,
should have kept playing.
yeah, the Silverbacks now.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh boy.
no one's career aspirations are to be on the Atlanta Silverbacks. But now it's like, okay, playing for Atlanta United would have been kind of cool. But hope's not lost yet. Hope's not lost. I might make a great comeback.
Okay. All right. All right.
Believe in me.
Doing some white man can't jump to go get your bills paid like you used to.
Got
But that's a
it.
story for another time, everyone. Anyway, Matt, thank you for joining me. Everybody, thank you for listening. We out of here.
We out of here.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Thanks for watching.